Hey everyone, welcome, and let's get to the plant tour you guys came for. So let's start with this feature wall, which is a bunch of trailing pothos. I absolutely love this part of the room because the trailing pothos just really gives that indoor jungle vibe that I was aiming for. So the first pothos is this golden pothos, which is my very first pothos in this room in my collection, and it has grown so much. It looks absolutely stunning. And right next to it is the Marble Queen, which I got months after the Golden Pothos, but it is pulling no punches. It is also growing really fast, and it looks just as stunning. And on its left is a global green pothos, which is also very pretty in its own right. And neighboring it on the left is not a pothos, but is the Monstera siltepecana, which is just a monster. Don't be fooled, because this is much longer than my other pothos. I just had a few of the longest vines looped on top so that it doesn't extend to the bed. And as you can see, I have this blank part of the wall, and it's because I don't have enough. Well, I do have other pothos, but they're just not trailing nicely, so I'm leaving it blank for now. On that side of the wall, I was thinking to have more of a canopy of Maranta, so I'm looking to get a Maranta lemon lime and the silver band. So moving on, we have this big monstera that I'm sure has already taken your attention, being it is so big and imposing on the room. This monstera had a few plants in it, but I removed them when I repotted. I just kept the one big main plant, and here it is. I even put it on a plank, and the roots seem to have attached. There's a new leaf that has emerged just a few days ago. All my other plants have already started growing, but this one sure was taking its time. But here it is. It has finally done it. And under the canopy of this monstera is this very pretty Sansevieria or Dracaena moonshine in this very cute vase pot. And next to it is the jewel orchid or Lodesia discolor, which I just trimmed off the blooms a few days ago because they had finally dried up. The blooms are nice and cute, and they last pretty long. So that was a very nice experience. And on the back is a Tenanthe setosa, which I had previously started as a cutting last year, and now it has grown a lot. It is thriving. And next to it is my Philodendron bilietiae, which I adore as well. Such an easy plant and so pretty. And right by is the Hoya bella, which is doing so much better now. When I got this last year, it was in the middle of summer. This was looking very ragged, and I also made the mistake of underwatering it when this particular Hoya likes to be moist. They don't like completely drying out. So I've finally learned from that, and the new growth is looking really nice, and it actually put out a peduncle with a small cluster of flower buds. But I don't know what happened. Like a week later, the flower buds had just browned and it just fell off, which made me so sad because I thought I was going to have my first Hoya bloom ever. And here is my Scindapsus pictus. I find the Scindapsus pictus a little bit more challenging than your pothos. I think I'd prefer the pothos every step of the way. Next to it is my Syngonium butterfly, which is doing okay, not the best. This was actually one of my first plants that I bought after I started my indoor jungle, and it was doing really well. But ever since it got root rot and I have managed to save it, it has just not really returned to its previous vigor. And right next to it is an Enjoy Pothos, which is a very recent acquisition. I just received this like a week ago, and yep, you guessed it. This is one of the plants that I'm looking to grow, and once it has grown enough, I will have it trail as part of the wall of pothos. And next to it is the neon pothos, which is looking really nice and bushy. Although I've had this from last year, I think it's been a year now since I've got it. It has barely trailed at all compared to like my global green and my marble queen. So I find that it is a very slow growing pothos. And just below is my philodendron Ethiopiae, which I adore so much. This is a wish list plant for me. And so moving down here, I have my Hoya australis lisa. And it's really weird that it has these blood red coloration for its new leaves. I found out it doesn't like to be watered frequently whatsoever. So I only water it about like once a month, if not less. There's a Rhaphidophora tetrasperma propagation here as well. And I have some Melanochrysum cuttings in water that I'm propagating here. And this here is an Anthurium silver blush. The biggest leaf there is the newest leaf, and it looks absolutely stunning. And next to it is an Alocasia Jacqueline, or what's left of it. I did transition into a soilless media, and it did not like it whatsoever. So this is what we have now. And here is my Raven ZZ plant, which is just so beautiful. And right next to it is my snake plant, which is one of my oldest plants that I've had. I've had this even before I started my indoor jungle. And this beauty here is an Alocasia heterophylla, which is just nothing short of amazing. The leaves look so stunning. And next to it is the Alocasia cuprea red secret. Oh my god, this is also so stunning. The coppery redness is like no other. I mean, I have an Alocasia fever right now. This philodendron painted lady, which I've had for over a year now, I believe, and it's just also very pretty, very easygoing. Right next to my other easygoing plant, which I also adore, my philodendron Florida green, which is going strong. This here is my Monstera Peru, which has successfully propagated. I did rescue this because it almost died of root rot, and these are cuttings that took a while to root, but they have finally rooted, and it seems that it's on its way to growing back to its luscious form as it did before. And I have another Rhaphidophora tetrasperma up here, which is the main plant. This has gone through so much. This started as a baby plant, and I did have to rescue it from a root rot, but here we are now, and it's crazier than ever. Down here is an oddball plant. This is the Peperomia green bubble. I couldn't figure out which Peperomia this was, but someone in my previous video commented that it's likely a hybrid of the Peperomia caparata, which I have come to agree because it does kind of look like it, but it's absolutely stunning. And next to it is another Tenanthe, which is the Amagris. And up here I have my Fittonia, which is one of the plants that I have also bought early on when I started my indoor jungle. and it's still here and it's doing so well. And here's just a philodendron verrucosum. I did split this off from the main plant that I got, and I'm trying it in a soilless media to see how it will go. And on this desk, I have this very pretty Tenanthe burley marxii. Very easygoing plant. So if you want prayer plants that are easy to care for, easy to maintain, Tenanthes are your best bet. And next to it is the Philodendron tabapoense, which wasn't really on my radar because it is already very similar to the Bilietiae, but when the price dropped considerably, I just had to buy it. And down here I have my rabbit's foot fern. I love ferns, but I really slept on this. I can't believe it took me this long to get one, but I finally did. And it is such a big pot, and it's just full. You can see the rhizomes are just pouring over. And I've got a couple of spathiphyllums here in a jar of water. They're doing okay. And here I have my Hoya pubicalix, which is the very first Hoya that I got. I've had it, I think, for almost a year now, if not just a little over a year. But yeah, it's not really growing or anything, it's just static. So yeah, we're still figuring our way with Hoyas. And this here is my string of hearts, which I have propagated, or rather saved. And I just recently, just the other day actually, moved it here into this no drainage pot just to see how it goes. And this here is my other pothos, the Cebu Blue, but it has just been very leggy. I don't really want to grow it on a moss pole, so this is a pretty decent alternative. What do you guys think? And here's my Hoya croniana black. Yeah, nothing much going on with this one either. I think the leaves are a little bit dehydrated. They don't really feel plump, so yeah. But this one that I really love is this fishbone cactus, which, oh, this has grown quite a lot. I got this, I think, over the winter. We did have a very mild winter, but I was surprised to see that this one just kept growing. And these two over here are Christmas cactus or Easter cactus. I'm not sure which one they are, but the red one I received it bloomless, and I was very happy to see that it had bloomed for me. It actually bloomed around early January, so I would say it's probably Christmas cactus. And down here I have my very beautiful Monstera albo variegata, which I never really planned on getting one. The price was not expensive, or that expensive at least. It was about 59 euros, somewhere there, which I thought was a pretty decent price. It's not as magnificent as the other ones that you see on social media, but I am perfectly content with what I have here and excited to see how variegated it will be moving forward. Yes, and here I have one of my favorite plants, the Pinguicula, and it's just these two pots had one rosette each, and you can see there's just multiple rosettes on it now, and they're doing their job, getting all those fungus gnats which have become prevalent now that warm weather is upon us. And this here is my Hoya Crimson Queen, finally pushing out some growth. When I got this last year, it wasn't really doing much of anything, but I'm happy to see that it's now growing. And here's just another Hoya croniana, some cuttings that I'm propagating here. I have my beautiful staghorn fern. I love this. I think I need to repot it soon though. And here is a rattlesnake calathea. Also needs to be repotted into a bigger one, I think. And here are other melanochrysum cuttings, this time in moss. And this here is an Anthurium adrianum, which I finally decided to take seriously, and I really want this to put out some blooms. And right behind is this Monstera adansonii. There are two of them here. I've had quite a journey with this adansonii. It just keeps on losing its old leaves every time, but it continues to grow. So I have fully transitioned it into moss, and now we will see how it goes. I put two of them here. The other one is a mint adansonii. Not very variegated, not very minty, but time will just tell how it will show. And this here is my Alocasia stingray. I also transitioned this into soilless medium, and yeah, they did say alocasias are very dramatic. They don't like changing soils or repotting them, and it's definitely going through it. Yes, and down here I have my Philodendron gloriosum, which has just gone through such a journey. Here I have Asplenium, or bird's nest fern. And this here is called the aloe sugar crystal. I'm not sure which species it is exactly, or which kind of hybrid it is. I'm assuming it's a hybrid of sorts. And next to it is the aloe Jurassic chameleon. I have a Scindapsus pictus that I'm growing in a no drainage with moss. Yes, and here is some pothos cuttings. That's quite a few of them in there, which is from my original golden pothos that was hanging on the wall that you saw earlier. Here is Calathea makuyana. And this one is another Asplenium, the Ebenoides dragontail, which was also a recent acquisition. I also have this Pothos Pearls and Jade that is doing fantastic down here. And I just have some moss growing in these jars here. And on this side, I have a bunch of favorites as well. So let's get to them. I have another string of hearts, the other half of the propagation. And next to it is my Philodendron Prince of Orange, which I finally got to see the beautiful orange coloration. It's looking a little bit brown now, but when it first came out, it was a very nice orange color. And right behind it is this Philodendron Brazil. Also had this trailing, but it was not trailing nicely, so I decided to put it on this like cocoa fiber pole. Here I have a Monstera dubia, which I absolutely love. One of my wish list plant for this year, so I am super happy to acquire. I actually used a moss pole. I'm not really a huge fan of moss poles because I don't like how they look, but for the dubia, I will make an exception. And this here is another Alocasia, which also went through a bit of a temper tantrum from its repot. And here is an Anthurium crystallinum. When I bought my crystallinum, there were a bunch of them in that one pot. And when I repotted it, I found these two sproutlings. So yes, I have it here, and I'm looking forward to see how this will grow. And behind it is a Philodendron gigas. And behind that is a Philodendron hastatum, which I adore. This is one of the plants that I am most proud of because this started as a baby plant and it is growing so much. I just thought, why not put it in a moss pole and see how it goes? And right next is, you probably have guessed it, my philodendron verrucosum, which has stolen, captured my heart because it is so beautiful. One of my absolute favorite plants ever. It is doing well and is just growing nonstop even after repotting it into this no drainage vessel. It's just, oof. I am definitely looking forward to getting huge leaves from this over time. And here I have the most mature Anthurium crystallinum. This big leaf here is a new leaf that came out a few weeks ago, and it has just sized up so big so fast, which is kind of scary but exciting. It's amazing. This new leaf here as well, sizing up. Behind it is my first anthurium. Well, my first collector's anthurium. My very first one was the Adrianum, which is one of the most common ones. But yeah, the Clarinervium here, doing really nicely. And this is my Philodendron melanochrysum, which, yeah, wasn't really a plant in my radar. I've heard all about how this is such a hard plant, just like the verrucosum. But yeah, I thought, why not? Let's just do it. Let's get it and take on the challenge. And up here I have my two Boston ferns. This one with a darker green color is the Nephrolepis green lady. It's a different cultivar, which is why the green is darker than the other one. So yeah, don't think like something is wrong with the other one. It's not. And because I have run out of space in my bedroom, I have put some of my plants here. Now this lush looking Aglaonema is a bunch of Aglaonemas. I had it in 3 different pots, but I just yesterday decided to repot them and put them together. They do tend to get kind of leggy or caney over time, so it just looks much better together. And then down here, I just have this a bit of a fern garden. This here is another bird's nest fern. It's a miniature one of the big one that I showed earlier. And I have this polka dot plant, which is one of the earliest plants I also got when I started my indoor jungle. And it's still alive, still with me, doing really nice. This is all new growth. And right next to it is Phlebodium, or the blue star fern. As much as I love ferns, the blue star fern has just not been easy for me. I think it's because of underwatering, which is why I decided to finally bunch them together here and see if it will do better together, especially since all these plants do not want to dry up at all. And this here is a calathea that used to be really full, but was a victim of underwatering, so it lost a lot of its leaves. I almost threw it, but it had one healthy leaf left, so I thought, why not keep it and see what happens? And I'm happy to see that it's finally growing back. So let's see how long that lasts. This here is my Chamodeira, or my parlor palm, looking really nice and tall. I got it very cheap at a grocery store, so that was a very neat find. And this here is my asparagus fern, also one of the plants I bought early on when I started my indoor jungle. So happy to see that it's doing well. And down here is my philodendron ring of fire, which really hasn't been doing much of anything for me. It only put out one leaf, and the leaf did not even unfurl. It was just stuck for months. So I just cut it and hopefully it would put out a new growth. But yeah, one of the least exciting plants for me so far. And here are just some more moss propagations. I hope you found the plant tour enjoyable. I'd love to hear from you guys, so let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care for now. Bye-bye.